Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Can we rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? Gary, want to lead?
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call.
Commissioner Anderson?
Here.
Richardson?
Here.
Garnet?
Here.
And Jensen.
Here. Thank you. Public appearances per California state law. Matters not on the agenda raised by the public will be automatically.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, but we need to do your election of officers before you do that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I skipped right by it.
That's okay, no problem.
Thank you, Rochelle. So following the agenda, it's our annual election of officers. So.
Sure comes fast.
I know for some this doesn't come fast enough.
It's been a year and a month because we usually do it in August.
We usually do it in August,
We
that's
didn't
right.
have a meeting in August.
Well, I'll start the ball rolling by saying I think that Mr. Garner has done a very good job. I don't mind being vice chairman if he's not around. I'll say that much. I think he's done a good job. He understands the pulse of what's going on here. So I would like to nominate him back again.
I'll second that. As long as Chris goes along with it, and I'd like to nominate John Richardson to be vice chair.
Well, I'll second
Done a
that.
good job.
We're done. Thank you.
Easy. So we're gonna, are we gonna close nominations or what we gonna do? John, would you be willing to be vice chair? I'll be
I'll
top
be
chair.
vice
again.
chair. Glad to do it. You bet.
Just for the record, this will be the third year I've done this.
Nice
So,
job. Third
that's
time's
why
a
I
I
charm.
need a jacket with stripes on the sleeves or something. Thank you very much. I appreciate the comments.
Well, you're doing a good job.
Absolutely.
So all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed to that? Okay, gentlemen. Back to the agenda. Public appearances. Per California state law, matters not on the agenda raised by the public will automatically be referred to staff or placed on the next meeting's agenda. Anyone wishing to address the commission at this time will be limited to 5 minutes. And please, it can't be anything that's already agendized for tonight's meeting. So if there's any new information or any new topics of discussion you'd like to bring to us, feel free to come up now. Being that there is none, we'll move on. Thank you very much. Minutes of the previous meeting, it would be the approval of the minutes of July 10th. Planning Commission meetings, so you've all had a chance to review them. Any amendments, changes, or is there a motion?
Are you entertaining comments from the audience on minutes?
Sure.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and congratulations on your re-election. Sharon Maravich from the Tuolumne Heritage Committee. I just wanted to note under your public hearings section, page 1 of your minutes, it goes on and on to list the conditions of the development. One of the major things that's not there is the statement of non-responsibility on the part of the city. And I'm just wondering if that should be there.
I don't recall that being part of that discussion.
We can add it in, we can make that change. She must have missed it when she was, because we added the 2 conditions on that project. So we can add that in.
Go ahead, Sharon.
Thank you, Ms. Maravich. So that'd be the 19th condition?
I think it actually was, I'll have to look back on that, where it was. But we'll add it in. I know which one she's talking about,
Okay.
so we'll get it in there.
All right, good. Commissioners, any other comments, or anyone else in the audience? Choose to comment? If not, is there a motion?
I move to approve. I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Anderson, second by Commissioner Jensen. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous. Thank you. Thanks for that. Tonight we have 3 items for design review. Be happy to entertain public comment after each item. As proposed by the applicant. First item, the application by Heidi Corapasi for design review permit to install a new roof material from a painted metal roof with a scallop design stamped into the metal to individual stamped metal shingles with a scallop design. This is located at 531 South Washington Street in a C commercial zone. The assessor parcel number is 002-181-025. Paul?
Thank you. As you noted, this is a design review. It is for roofing material. The project is within a commercial district, and therefore any changes to the exterior of the building require design review. The 2 samples are before you tonight in the middle. The triangle piece is a piece of one of the larger existing pieces that was taken off the building, and the 2 smaller ones are the single shingle options that the applicant is requesting approval for. So the larger type of painted stamped metal is not available on the market anymore, and so the applicant has looked quite diligently to find a replacement type product that would still be in line with the historical nature of the building and similar kind of look to the roofing materials. The house that it is on is a historic house. It has been noted in the inventory that the city did with the historic buildings in town. It is a folk Victorian style building. As you know, they've been remodeling this building and bringing it back to the current state, which I have to say has been a really nice job so far on the remodeling effort that they've done. Staff has looked at this, and we believe it is a good match for the building type and for the age of the building that it is proposed on. The differential between the 2 is not something that would cause a problem with the historic nature of the building, and so we are recommending approval to it. One of the comments that we did receive when we sent it out for our advisory agencies was just a reminder from the building department that any roofing material did need to meet the building code, which is a Class C requirement. But that's not a condition of approval, it's just a building code requirement that they would have to meet regardless. But we did note that in your staff report for you. Other than that, it is exempt from CEQA, as it won't, it won't affect the historical significance of the building, and we don't have anything other than the general conditions of approval, which would be that the roofing material that's presented tonight or something of a similar nature would be installed up on the roof. Be happy to answer any questions.
Does that roof comply with Class C?
We're still looking at that. The building inspector was doing a little bit more research today. The website and the information that's on the back doesn't contain the information to be able to say off the top yes or no. If the shingle itself does not, the solution is that they can put a cap sheet, a mineral cap sheet on the roof, and then apply the shingles on top of that, and that would meet the Class C rating. So there are solutions to do it with still using the product that they've selected.
Any other questions to staff? Thank you, Paula. Is the applicant here? Would you like to add anything to this, Ms. Corapasi?
No, I have nothing to add other than the original material is not available, and that cap sheet that you're referring to is already on the roof. Thank you.
So are those the same panels? They lock together
Yes.
to make a round
Yeah, and then
looking
they make
shingle?
a scallop, and that was the closest we could find to the scallop.
Figure 2 in your staff report has a picture of how it looks installed on a roof.
Is that like an asbestos type material, center all shape? What is that, aluminum or
No,
metal?
it's metal.
It's metal, okay,
It's galvanized still.
okay.
Okay. Thanks. Bring it back to the commission. Is there any other comment from the public? None? Okay. Commissioners?
I'd like to applaud our effort to find something that's at least comparable.
I agree. I think this person's been a very good partner with the city as far as following through with what she said she was going to do on the property. Looking for a motion.
I would like to, I'll move that we approve it based on the conditions and findings wherever they are in general on the back. I would also compliment her on a fantastic job in bringing that building back to Sonora. It looks great. It's really nice, and I think this will do a really good job, so I move that we approve it.
I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Richardson, second by Commissioner Anderson. The 4 findings and 4 conditions as noted. Any other discussion? If not, call for the question. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Nice job.
Great.
Thanks for coming in.
Second item, application by Frank Baldwin for Hazel Mitchell for a design review permit to replace the 6 existing windows in the rear of the building with similar double-hung vinyl windows. Front facade changes would include replacing the windows and trim treatment on the left front of the building with 4 5-foot by 5-foot windows. This is located at 19 West Bradford Street, in the C Commercial Zone. The assessor parcel number is 001-194-001.
All right, thank you. So this is another design review permit. This is for window replacement. In your packet, the figure 1 is a picture of the existing building, and figure 2 is what was submitted for the replacement of the front windows, which is only the ones on the bottom left side. And then the next 2 figures, figure 3 and figure 4, are the rear window replacements. So we'll kind of take a walk through both of these. This building is also listed on your historic resources inventory. It is a Queen Anne style building. There have been remodels to the front, particularly through the years, and different things have come and gone. Right now, the windows that are above the left front entry are ones that had been added through time. They are not the original windows on the building. And the applicant is requesting to remove those windows above the entry area and the trim that is associated with them, and to put back a 5x5 window, 4 separate 5x5 windows with wood trim around them, similar to what you see right above the candy in the front.
I have a question. I don't mean to interrupt you, Paula, but I'm a little confused as to exactly where these are. Is this first phase, the 4 5x5 proposed windows, is that where the art gallery is? Yeah, I just got a bad photocopy.
Yeah,
Is that where the gallery is?
it's looking at figure 1. It is the ones that are right over the entry
Of the gallery. So it has nothing to do with the candy vault?
No.
All right.
The ones that will be built will be similar to the ones that are above the candy area right here in the simplicity of them. Whereas right now, there's a lot of trim and stuff. And they will take out this extra work that they had put in and just have these 4 big windows, which will be more the rectangles like this.
All right.
So there'll be the 4 large rectangles across the front.
So it's going to match where the candy vault's going, isn't it?
Only large,
except for
tenants-
larger.
Except for larger.
Right.
So the aluminum frame that's below those windows, that's going to come out too? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes,
Structure below
this
there?
part right here, there's like this trim. that
Where the
goes-
sign is?
Oh,
No, the
okay.
sign itself will stay, it's just the little parts like
Okay.
this.
So above
The
the sign?
decorative stuff above the
Okay.
sign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would be the
And
color
that's
on the
the-
trim?
let's see that.
What would they?
It'll be similar to the paint scheme that's there now.
Okay, to match the house, the building
Mhm.
color, okay.
What about window color?
The windows will be.
What about the color of the vinyl?
On the back side
No, these.
of these, this part is proposed to be all wood trim.
Saw that.
All wood trim, but the window itself, is it wood?
When we get to that point, we can ask Mr. Baldwin, because I see him in the audience, so we can, Frank, you can clear that up for us.
All right,
Yeah, because it's not showing anything other than just the wood around it on his sketch.
we'll ask him.
We want to know the color, right, or what it's made of, or?
Well,
Just a
vinyl
trim
windows have a lot of different colors.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
I
no,
do too, I'd like to know the color on that with that.
The conversations we've had, and the applicant can jump in, but was that it would be similar to what you see in the four little ones that are above the candy parts, and you can't see anything but the wood there. And on these ones on the front, that's why we kind of split them into two, would be with the wood. The vinyl that we've discussed was for the rear of the building.
Okay. I didn't mean to interrupt you,
No,
Paul, I
that's
just wanted to clear that, exactly where they were and stuff. And with Mr. Baldwin here in attendance, he can clear up all these other issues.
Yeah. He has listed only 2x4s on the front for the materials, so I'm assuming it's wood. Okay, so on the back, the rear of the building, and these sketches are a little hard to see. The picture portion of figure 4 isn't, there's really nothing in the picture that the applicant is showing. It's the sketch that's at the bottom there. Those are really the only information. The other picture portion of it's just a picture, which is why we provided the better pictures in the previous figures, just to kind of guide you in looking through that. This one's a different type of window being requested. There's also different types of windows currently on the building, so it's a little bit more of a mixed bag. They're requesting to replace all 6 windows. So if you look at figure 3, you can see there's 3 windows on the top that are similar to the double hung windows in the sketch. Currently, they are in a wood frame, and they are requesting to change those to vinyl. Then on the bottom, there's another 3 windows. They're a little bit harder to see. 2 of them are under the fire escape. One of them has an air conditioning unit in them currently, or in it currently. And then the other one is behind the propane tanks. So the equipment kind of is in front of the bottom 3. But the ones that you can see clearly on the bottom behind the propane tank is a different style window than the top 3, you'll note. There's 4 panes in that window, and it also doesn't have the white wood casement around it. It's got the black, and there's an arch and things like that. So the window itself that the applicant has asked for is to come back with the double hung windows for all 6 of the windows. The building is brick, so the actual size of the opening is set. They're not asking to change those sizes at all. And just the window itself was what would be replaced, with the intention that what they put back in would look similar to what is there currently shown in the picture. So if you have questions concerning the bottom ones in particular, the applicant is here to address how that would work, because as you can see in the bottom, there is an arch to those black casements.
I have a question for him when he comes up or so.
So the sketch that we had provided to us was pretty simple. It is just the the bottom portion here, indicating that it's a double hung window. And then other than that, the indication would be that they'd be vinyl and painted to match and would look similar to what you have today. So based on that, the staff recommends that as long as it looks similar to what is there today, that you approve that. And the CEQA determination on it is with that assumption of similar look to the building, that it would be exempt from CEQA.
Thank you. Any other questions of staff?
Well, I just want to know about the shutters that are covering the windows. Are they that way all the time? Are they open? Does the shutter stay closed covering that window during the day, or are they swung open? And if so, would the window color be the same as the one that's on the front of the building? Same vinyl, whatever, so it'd be consistent. Seems like those shutters are pretty consistent with being there all the time. I've never seen them open. I don't think they could be open where the air conditioner is, so I don't know. We're looking at it, he wants to put glass behind that. Is that what he wants to do?
You might want to ask Frank.
Yeah, that's what I'm just curious about the shutters, so they look,
Because we didn't test them.
Any other questions of staff before I get the applicant up here? No? Oh, wait. Is the applicant here? Yes. Could you come on up and get to the lectern there, Frank? Thank you. Let's, I got an idea. Can we just deal with the front windows first? We'll kind of take this in sections. The glazing that you propose to put in the front, 5-foot square windows, are those dual pane? Are they tinted in any way? Or?
Yeah. Okay, egress, and they're fixed. They're fixed windows.
Okay.
Just 2 pieces of glass with aluminum inside glued together. We put it in and we'll trim it up with wood, paint it.
Never know anything happen except that the wood trim will match the existing trim in the building.
Correct.
Okay. Any other questions about the front windows?
Oh, that answered my question too.
Let's go to the back. So the proposal would be for vertical sliders.
Single hung window.
Single hung window, but vertical sliders.
Correct.
And these are dual pane vinyl.
Correct.
Are there color choices in the vinyl?
Yes, I think there's 3, I think. I'm not sure.
Where is that? Is it on this?
What,
Single pane,
it's really, there wasn't much other than the little drawing right there.
Yeah,
You have a magnifying glass for me?
we didn't really draw anything up on replacing those windows. They're just being replaced. There'll be a boxed window, no fins. They just put in, we caulk them in, trim them out, paint them.
I'm familiar with that.
so I guess I had a question, I don't know if we got to that, about the shutters where the air conditioner is.
I don't know where there's any shutters. I've never
I
seen
think
it.
they're sure.
Is that a window by the propane tanks? It looks like a shutter, like it's got,
It's a window.
That's actually a window, just
That's
painted
a
brown.
I never noticed any shutters.
okay, well, that's what it depicted to me, that it was a shutter.
I think it's mini blinds that you're seeing.
Okay.
So Frank, the arches on those window casements down below on the street level, they're arched a little bit? That's just a trim that's arched, right?
Just the trim that's arched. It's just a brick. The brick's arched,
Okay,
and then they've got the brick underneath, and then these windows are just pull the old out, put the new in.
all right.
Frank, in your experience as to wood or vinyl, which do you think is the less maintenance and the better lasting as far as?
Vinyl.
Okay.
It's a matter of cost. Wood windows are so expensive. They just didn't want. And these windows, they're ready to fall out. They're rotted. Bad.
Yeah, vinyl's definitely more practical for this.
Yes.
I agree. The color would be a concern. though. I don't think white should be put in there for sure.
You go brown or chocolate or
Yeah,
black, I
something
think they
like
have.
that, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll care. Now, on the side of the building, it's all white vinyl windows.
Oh, it is.
On the side street.
Next to the building, adjoining the other buildings.
So the south wall then,
Yeah,
those are already vinyl.
they're all vinyl, yeah. Irving Simons put those in years ago.
Not very visible from anywhere.
Can't see them.
Yeah.
Any other questions for,
I guess the color that you're going with the rear windows would be similar to the ones on the front. The vinyl, the same color,
The trim.
be the same trim, it'd be the same, it wouldn't any difference in color.
The color wouldn't matter to us. Right now, they're white.
That's, but you're gonna have them on the front.
No, the front are no color, the windows.
Okay, fine. So in the back, you will be using a color.
Yes. And it's whatever color you guys come up with, it'll be
You
fine.
guys can set that as a condition as part of the motion.
Yeah, Ron, what do you think about color? You were into that.
I think it should just match the building itself. Right now, they look like a dark, like Frank said, a brown or
Mhm.
some, would be fine. As long as it's not white back there, I think would be good.
Yeah, subdued color would be fine. It's matches close to the building decor, the color of the building is fine.
Yeah, we can go with the chocolate color.
Yeah, that would be great, I think. Yeah.
okay. Building that I work in, the same thing was done some years ago. And they're much higher performing windows than the wood sash that was there. Any other questions for the applicant?
Well, it's great to see it picks up downtown Sonora. Once again, it's great.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody in the public like to comment? No, I'll bring this back to the commission. Pleasure, gentlemen.
Well, if nobody else wants to, I'll make a recommendation to approve the design review permit
I'll second.
with the conditions and.
Would you like to add a condition about color in the back windows, Ron?
Yeah, I would. Just no white. Dark brown is fine. Whatever, I know there's a little bit of some makers don't make a lot of colors, so I know you know what to do.
You have that down, Michelle?
Yeah, we'll go with the dark color to blend with the existing building.
Great. Any other comments?
And I second.
All right. Motion by Jensen, second by Richardson. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? No. Thank you very much. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Item 3, application by Clifton Sorrell of VMI Architecture for a design review permit to replace the existing building with a new drive-through KFC restaurant located at 1001 Mona Way in a C commercial zone. Assessor parcel number is 056180100. Paul?
Okay, thank you. So this one's a little bit different. It is another design review, but this one's not on a historic building. It's actually going to be a new building. The site is in the shopping center there at 1001 Mona Way. It was the previous site of the Denny's restaurant. So in your packet, we included a number of different photos of the existing shopping center buildings to kind of give you an idea of what those buildings look like, because that shopping center does have a theme to it, and all of the buildings within the shopping center have different design elements included in them, including an existing fast food restaurant. So the first set of photos are showing those existing buildings, and as you'll see, there is slanted roofs on the buildings and the Spanish tile roofing, and then also some arched ways and stacked rock along the bottom of the pillars to give it that continuity between the various buildings. The applicant is requesting a brand new building to be located here, so they would be doing a demolition on the existing building. The site plan has been included in your packet for your information to see how that would sit on the site. It would be moving the building closer to Mona Way, so there would be some visibility from the street as well as from interior to the shopping center itself. The layout includes a drive-through on this, whereas the existing Denny's was obviously not a drive-in, a drive-through. So there's a couple things that staff included in the conditions of approval and have discussed with the architect who is here tonight. Since this is something that goes through their corporate offices, we did not have revised elevations to bring back to you. So the ones that you see in your packet in figure 2 are the ones that were submitted, but they are not the ones that we are recommending approval of. We are recommending they be revised to include things like the sloped roof, Spanish tile, removal of the brick, and using more of the stacked rock that's used on the other buildings as an accent. I also want to point out to the commission that although your elevations included a tremendous amount of signage and painted logos and things like that on the building, that is not part of the approval tonight. Any signage would have to meet the City of Sonora's sign requirements, and it would be limited to the size of things like that the sign ordinance has in it. And that would be handled as a separate permit. There are 4 elevations that you're looking at tonight. They are not labeled properly on the directions. So the site plan kind of gives you an idea of how the building will lay. The drive-through itself would be the southern elevation, and right now it's listed as the east. So kind of flip those, south and east. And then again, the west and north elevations are actually flipped. So the building sits long ways along Mona Way, not short-ended to Mona Way.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, so the site plan shows it the way it should be cited, and the directions on the elevations are not correct. So you have to kind of match it up to the site plan.
On your comments, you mentioned something about, well, I guess can we just ask, is this site plan accurate as submitted to us?
Accurate as to how it will lay out?
Yeah, the building configuration?
Yes, yeah.
It is.
Yeah, so that's why I'm saying the elevations don't, the directions on the elevations don't match this. So the long elevation, this is the southern elevation, it's listed as the east.
Where's Mona Way on that site plan?
To the right.
That's what I thought. Didn't you
And
say
don't just
that?
go backwards on that. No, Mona Way is up there.
That's there, that's
At
what
the
you
top.
just said, the building's length goes along.
Yeah,
So-
so Mona Way is at the
Oh,
top.
it's the top,
It's
okay.
up here.
It would really be nice to have a better site plan.
Yeah, I'm a little confused as to how the drive, well, anyway.
Well, again, the site plan is here for, just to help us figure the elevations out properly. This is not a site plan review approval, it's only a design review. Okay, so the long elevation is what is along
So
Mona Way
that's Mona Way
at the top,
at the top.
yeah.
And that's all right. That's done.
This is the way it's going to lay on the land, yeah, which allows for the circulation to have plenty of stacking coming into that drive-through, and the drive-through to be interior to the site.
So the drive-through people are coming out on that exit on Mona Way, that's the far north exit. That's where they come out.
Will they come out on the far west?
Or west. Yeah, north is up here, so it's the far west, and then there's one closer to the Carl's Jr.
Yeah, this would be the
This is on the
westerly.
other side where the Denny's building was.
You said this is going to be toned down. Is there a site here, or a picture of the toned down application? In other words, right now we're looking at a KFC typical restaurant you'd see in San Francisco. Are we going to see basically the toned down concept of the tile roof? Is it here or where?
We do not have revised elevations, so the design review is being conditioned on adding the sloped roof, adding the Spanish tile.
Okay.
um,
That's what I
all
was
those
concerned
design
about. Okay.
elements would be-
We can bring that into the picture now.
Yeah,
You okay?
yeah, that's part of the conditions of approval
Okay.
that are on there. We do not recommend it be approved in this current state.
Right. Yeah,
So
that's
you,
all-
you
that's
guys
all
have
right.
two options. You can set it up with the conditions that staff has in here, if you would like our conditions, or you could not have them. And allow myself to approve it, to be approved based on the conditions that are in there. Or you could require them to have, they come back before this body for the final approval. It's up to you. We have it set up to where actually staff would approve it based on complying with the conditions that are in here and any new conditions or changes that you guys would like. So it would not have, we have it set up so it would not come back to the planning commission.
Well, I like the concept of the Carl's Jr. building, the way it's laid out with the tile and the front entrance. And that's attractive, and it's, I'm sure, would fit Sonora a lot better than what we're looking at here on the other picture. Nothing against them, it's just, this is Sonora. And Carl's Jr.'s building looks really nice, it's attractive, and fits that whole shopping center. So how can we work it in that direction? Can we go ahead and make statements how we would like it?
Excuse me, condition 2 in your packet did require them to revise it to incorporate the pitched roof and the Spanish tile roofing and other materials similar to the ones in the shopping center. It also required the brick along the border of the building to be replaced with stacked rock or similar building material, as on the columns that are in the shopping center right now. We also noted that the parking lot was overparked, and so removal of some of the extra spaces to provide for open green space and more tree plantings would be part of that. Since it's part of a shopping center, it's not a standalone.
Paul, have you covered all the other bases pretty much in your overview?
For the most part, there were a couple other comments that came in from city staff, including the city engineer dealing with the ADA pedestrian ramp and its interface with our new sidewalk on Monoway. And then also the fire department's need for clearance around the propane tanks, both of which are things that are required by code that we're putting in as conditions of approval to make sure that they know they need to deal with them.
Because we're considering doing a fast food with a drive-through. Historically, this has been a walk-in, sit-down restaurant. Has anybody thought about traffic impact or level of service that go into that shopping
They
center?
would pay the traffic impact fees that cover the difference in
I think
those.
anybody
And
would.
then that intersection has been analyzed as recent traffic reports on other projects as well.
What were they, what was it called? Can it absorb this impact?
With the payment of the traffic impact fees, yes, that's a mitigation of it.
So the drive-through, from the city's perception, the drive-through wouldn't have any further negative impacts on that access to the shopping center on Monoway.
No, the traffic impact fee would be the only mitigation that you would require for that. Anyway, and they're going to have to pay that. That's part of the normal process for a building permit.
Any other questions of staff?
Where do they receive their groceries? Big trucks?
Loading dock, they have a,
What kind of?
No, typically with the fast food, similar with Carl's Jr., they pull into the area
The
in
parking
front of
lot.
it. And
and unload.
Or to the side.
They'd be out of the main drive aisle to do that, so they'd be in their own area.
Does this happen anytime during the day or are there certain hours?
We don't restrict the hours.
Okay.
It
Because
seems to
again,
me you
it's a-
guys really, the conditions that you guys put on here seem to make a lot of sense to me.
Right, it's, I agree with you, Ron, it's bringing it into a, what would it's great to have a restaurant out there, but it would fit with what you're asking to be done, makes it really appropriate and acceptable to me. It's just how do we put it all together here? Need an architect here on the bench here. Ron is, so we'll let him do it.
He's out
Are there any other questions of staff?
No.
Ron? Is the applicant here?
Yes.
Yes, sir, could you come up?
Hello, my name is Clifton Sorrell. I'm with BMI Architecture. And I do agree. We basically will definitely be working with the planning department to make changes to the elevations to make sure it matches and it's articulated correctly for the city of Sonora. And as well as KFC Corporation is looking forward to being a part of the community. So we're going to do everything that we can to make sure that we're aligned, in alignment with that.
Sir, is your group or your company, are you the same owners as the East Sonora, the KFC at the Junction Shopping Center, or are you just separate ownership, different franchise?
That I can't respond to. I'm not sure. It could be, but I'm not sure.
Just curious. Any other questions for the applicant? Are you in any serious time frame on this? Do you have to get going like right now? I'm glad to see fried chicken dispensed there, believe me. I just want to know if you guys are under the gun for some.
I believe this is possibly, as far as the construction schedule you're referring to, that is incorporated. They have not released that information to us yet.
Okay. Okay. Are there any other questions for this gentleman?
No, I think he pretty well summed it up. He's in full cooperation with wanting to meet the needs of what we'd like to have. And again, it's great to have another restaurant for tourism and the local people, so I think it's great to have him here. And he's very willing to cooperate, so it's just a matter of putting it together and making it work, so we're on the right track.
Good to see something happening there after all these years.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's a dead zone. It's had an ugly spot for a long time.
Glad you guys are taking it on.
Thank you.
Thank you. Be happy to take public comment.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My name is Sharon Maravich. I'm representing the Colony Heritage League. When we received the advisory agency notice, which you have in your packet, with the drawing, we were appalled that Kentucky Fried Chicken would want to do a cookie cutter clone in the city of Sonora. We know they could do better, and apparently, according to your staff, which I did not know until I got here today, they are proposing to do better. Sonora is the queen of the Southern Mines, and of course, we outrank the little old Colonel anytime. And so we are very pleased that your planning director has rejected the cookie cutter building and is recommending a building style that fits into the architecture of the Timber Hill Shopping Center. This is exactly what we asked for and something the company has done in other towns, Monterey being one of them. There's a picture here of a Kentucky Fried Chicken store in Monterey. This is a Subway store in Old Sacramento. So when you put your foot down, the franchise businesses definitely will listen. My thought is that you ought to see those plans. Yes, your planning director has made certain statements here as to what the building looked like. But remember, this is what they wanted to build in Sonora. So what we would suggest is, A, you don't approve it tonight. You actually see what it is they want to build. They didn't even know which direction the elevations face. So, you know, we have no idea what their interpretation of what your planning director says they have to do. You are the decision makers. Secondly, regarding the traffic, paying money is not going to make that traffic go away. They are proposing a drive-up window. Now, when you start looking cumulatively at the traffic out there, it's going to be a nightmare with that hospital going in and the traffic going in and out of Timber Hills, and then the Kentucky Fried Chicken wanting to have a drive-up window. So my thought would be you ought to ask for a traffic study to see what really is the lay of the land out there. You may not want them to have a drive-up window because of the extent of traffic that could generate and cause serious concerns for people in driving. So we would ask you to postpone any action until you actually see what the building looks like, so that you can know for sure that it will blend in with the shopping center and will be something that we can be proud of here in Sonora. The franchise businesses will do that. I don't think we're in any kind of a hurry, and we would just encourage you to do your due diligence and actually see what they want to propose. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Mr. Chairman, I would have to agree with that. I would really like to see the plans. Not that I don't trust our staff for doing a good job, but like she says, it is our decision.
I'm in total agreement with that. Yes,
I am
ma'am.
too. That's the first thing I saw was here's the building and then they're gonna make a change. Well, what do you mean? I'd like to see the plans. That's what I was hoping for. Maybe someplace they come out of here in Magic, but obviously they're not here. So we really want to see it happen and be a part of Sonora's restaurant business, but we need a layout. We want to be able to compare it. I like Carl's Jr. I'd like to be able to see how they're going to put it together. We're going to work with them, but I think we all agree we need to see something.
Let's finish up with public comment and we can get to that.
I agree. It's coming to you as not recommended, and I would like to see something before you that is recommended. And I would like it not done in the back room, but in the front room with the public involved in what it looks like. And I would like to see the traffic also, because there was talk of a stoplight there at Timber Hills, and then that kind of went away. And it sounds like the traffic's going to be a little confusing over at the hospital with the right and left turn lanes. And then front porches next door, and I didn't see that they really responded because they just took over that building, so they might be concerned also. So I agree with Sharon.
Anybody else like to comment? If not, I'll bring it back to the commission. Gentlemen, your comments are heartfelt. I totally agree with Mrs. Maravich and their lady. I feel more comfortable if I have the right elevations in front of me. The reference to the site plan, all accurate. I'm suspicious of traffic impacts. You guys know that within the last year, we've had a couple of projects come before us with drive-through or fast food, especially one fairly recently in the summertime, and that was dumping traffic into a neighborhood. And I think that the study that was provided in that opened our eyes to a lot of the potential for what can happen to a business that has a drive-through aspect. There's a lot going on in that intersection right now. It's the busiest intersection in the city, probably in the county. And I think I'd like to have someone with a third set of eyes study that, in addition to the correct elevations. I don't want to put the Kentucky Fried Chicken off at all. Personally, I'm really supportive of a restaurant taking over there. But there's a couple of things about the way it's been presented to us tonight that I just feel inadequate about making a call.
So, Mr. Chairman, can I make a couple statements real quick?
Sure.
One is I'm bringing it, looking at a postponement and having them, and we can bring it back to you when they have the elevation ready. The traffic study we're going to have to look at, we only have certain entitlement requirements that this project is subject to, which is design review. So we'll look at what requirements the city can or cannot require for the project. And then we would bring that back and let you know what that would be.
It is a modification of an existing use, so that's my problem.
Yeah, but there are certain things we can do and require and things.
Then I just need to know about that when the full
Yeah.
plans are set up right.
Rochelle, is there still a plan to put a stoplight at the center entrance to the shopping center there?
And not at this time. They have the underground in, but at this point in time, see, The shopping center, the traffic light would have been subject to be a requirement for the outpatient pavilion, the cancer center, if they wanted a left turn lane or a left turn out of their project. They do not have a left turn out of their project, so they can only, when you come out of the cancer pavilion, you can only turn right on the Monroe. If they had requested a left turn out of there, then the stoplight would have been part of their project as a requirement. But because they forfeited the left, and they're only going to allow for a right, and the actual driveway is going to be configured to force people to the right, the stoplight will not be required. And there won't be a conflict, and so the conflict isn't there.
I have a question for Paul. You mentioned that there are fees being paid for the drive-in, and that was basically, that's not really a traffic study, that was just meeting requirements basically to have a drive-in, that we didn't have Jerry go out there and do there hasn't been a real traffic study there.
No, there was not a traffic study done as part of this project. Entitlement, it didn't trigger it, but as part of your normal process, there are traffic mitigation fees that the city and the county both have adopted. So anytime someone comes in for a building permit, one of the fees that they have to pay is a traffic mitigation fee according to whatever their use is. And since this is a change in use, the traffic mitigation fee for the drive-through would be the one that would be applied at that building permit stage.
So tonight we could make a requirement and a traffic study is officially done, or how can we do that?
No, we're really limited. Although this is a new building, replacing a previous building, it does not trigger your site plan review process in the city of Sonora, sorry. Your threshold is 5,000 square feet, and this building is less than 2,500, so it actually falls under a CEQA exemption. So,
It's not required.
no, it's not.
And we'll also say the city engineer received a packet, and he had no comments as far as any concerns regarding traffic flow.
I just wanted in the minutes that we talked about this. It's a little bit of a horse of a different color as far as I'm concerned.
We have Jerry involved in at least knowing about it, and we've contacted him.
Well, he
made
gets an advisory notice.
I'm sorry, he actually did respond on the project, and his responses have been included in your packet, the conditions of approval. They were focused more on the ADA pedestrian matchup with the new motorway sidewalk that was out there, and dealing with that traffic. We did have the previous traffic study for the outpatient pavilion that did analyze the traffic in the area not too long ago with current counts and things like that. So when you apply traffic reports, it's not like this hasn't been looked at in this area.
That was for
yes,
uses at that time.
it is for the uses at the time, but you also do a future projection, and it's done on an assumed use of the zoning as well. So it does kind of take it all into consideration, and then with your traffic impact fees, the monies that will be generated from that would go to pay for other improvements that will address the cumulative long-term effect of the traffic.
What do you think,
But I
Jim?
want to make this really clear, that your traffic mitigation fees might not go to something in that area. It might go, when they pay those fees, if there's outstanding fees for the intersection project, yes, it may. It might go for a project out in the county, depending on where, what next priority pops up. So I want to make it clear to you that that doesn't mean that it's going to pay for improvements along the way. That was already paid for by the traffic mitigation fees that were paid previously. So just to make that clear, they're two different things.
I've got one last question. Would it be prudent to have Jerry here for the next meeting, in case people from the public would like to hear or ask him his response, or could we get a letter or something?
So what we need to do is make sure what requirements the city can impose and not impose on the project. So we will clarify that and make sure what the city could ask or not ask, and then we can go from there. We can, when the project comes back, we can either A, have some traffic analysis that has been done, or B, explain to you why no traffic analysis was done.
That's great.
The big thing is this is not a site plan approval. You're not looking at the site layout.
And we don't have the authority to do that.
Well, sounds like the way we're going here, we'd like the right elevations and the right documentation, describing specifically what our intent is here, blend the architecture with this shopping center, and not to just go with the cookie cutter box corporate. So we could get that next time. Are you gentlemen good with that?
I'm good with that.
Can we just go ahead and make a motion or a move to have it?
I would just
Just say
postpone it and give
postpone it,
direction
postpone
to
it.
staff.
Until we get a complete package.
Okay. That sounds good.
Works for me. All right.
And then I will just note that the timing of it, just so that, we don't have people either in the public or yourselves anticipating when it'll come back. The timing of when it comes back before you will be somewhat in KFC's court as to how soon they get their elevations revised and back to us.
I
So
understand.
if it takes them 2-3 months to do that, I don't know if the applicant wants to give us a timeline to anticipate, but staff would not be controlling that, so it may or may not be on your next agenda. It would just be when we receive it, we would bring it forward.
Even when we receive it, all we're doing is
Design review.
design
Look at the
review. We don't have
elevations.
anything to do with the site plan,
Right,
and we have nothing to do with parking,
right,
drive-through.
right.
And we won't know if a drive-through impacts traffic any more than, I'm gonna go to Kentucky Fried Chicken, whether there's a drive-through or not. I don't even like drive-throughs. I like to see my food being put.
In the container, yeah. I don't know, maybe I'll let the cat out of the bag a little bit. This is one of the issues in your ordinance that we would like to address, and we would be bringing it back and changing that size, or recommending to change that size.
We're bringing it back, but right now, this is where you're at.
Yeah, it's a,
Carl's Jr. has a drive-through, and it hasn't impacted anything any more than it ever did. This one just happens to be closer to the intersection, which everybody thinks is gonna make it worse.
I will say this about Jerry. He would have commented if he had a concern.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I mean, even though it is a design review, it did go to him. His concern was the sidewalk, and his comments did not reflect anything on traffic.
Is the public comment period still open?
I'll take some more comments if you want.
Yes, Sharon Maravich from the Tuolumne Heritage Committee. Traffic is not generally one of our concerns, although we're very concerned about it, especially at this area. There's not going to be any more stoplights out there than what you currently see right now. So the traffic in and out of that hospital, the new hospital that's going to add to the healthcare needs and facilities here in Tuolumne County is going to attract major traffic. Please, if your staff is telling you that you can't require a traffic study, please give some thought to not allowing a drive-up window. You could have done the same thing at the Arco station at North Sonora. You could have said no drive-up window. Those would have cut down tremendously on the 700 cars that are going to be on a residential street in the city of Sonora, that people are going to have to live with that many cars on a cul-de-sac. So it is well within your prerogative to say no to a drive-up window. You can do that.
We done with this one? Okay. Thank you very much. Move on to Community Development Director's report.
Okay, I just have an introduction tonight. It's a preliminary introduction. It's not, hopefully at the next meeting, he'll be sitting up here at the table with you. We have Kevin Anderson here tonight. He is the lone applicant that we had for the vacant planning commission seat. He has stepped up and submitted his application. It'll be going to the city council on the 18th. Staff knows Kevin well. He actually is involved with the Dragoon Gulch Trail project, and he actually lives out there. And So anyway,
What's his
we're
last name?
Anderson.
Familiar, sound good.
Yeah, two-
Sorry, Kevin, we already got an answer on it.
Ian or
We got
Owen?
Richardson's, Andersons. That's great.
Owen.
Thanks for stepping up.
Yeah, thank you.
And we greatly appreciate it. Staff was very appreciative of the fact that he submitted his application, and it's nice to have somebody stepping up to the plate.
Thanks
So
for
we-
introducing him to us.
Yeah, and so we have one other thing for you guys, is we will definitely have an August meeting, whether or not KFC comes back.
August was last.
I mean, October, whatever, the next month that's coming up. We have a design review, but we also are going to be bringing back some code changes, and the one code change that we're bringing back next meeting will be regarding allowing historic use to return to a building. So in your residential areas that are commercial, where you have older buildings, older residential buildings that maybe have been converted at one time to commercial use, allowing them to go back to their original use for residential, because we do have that comes up regularly, so we are looking and trying to accommodate that. So anyway, that ordinance will be coming back for your review at the next meeting. And then we'll bring this project back that you just postponed when it's ready to come back to you.
Yeah, let's just wait for it to all come together.
That's it. That's all I have.
Thank you, Rochelle.
Mhm.
Let's adjourn. Thank you very much.